Hello, this is Billy Core from the Carolina Circle Mall. Today is Friday, September the 1st of 2017. Finally made it into September. And what we're looking at today is, well, my latest project. This is a culmination of many ideas that I've had over the years. This is the new Carolina Flyer. Now you're probably wondering what happened to the original Carolina Flyer that we built back in this past spring. Well, it never really felt like my computer. It just lacked too many things that I needed to make it my ultimate system, which is what I was going for in the first place. So I wound up selling that off, and now I have this. Well, what's the story behind this? A couple of months ago I was at Value Village and I found a computer for sale. And I bought it mainly just to resell, but unfortunately I could not get it to sell whatsoever. Nobody seemed interested in it, so I decided to keep it. And then I realized that this computer has the hardware in here I've been needing. And what I've been wanting to do for a long time is pretty much build the ultimate 90s computer. A computer that can play just about any game from that 10-year period. And this computer had that power. And I was about to sell it. And I'm glad I didn't, because I realized the beauty within. So I finally set it up last week. Specs of it has an A-open motherboard from 1998, slot 1, with a Pentium 2 clocked at 266 megahertz, but I overclocked it to 300 megahertz. It has 256 megs of RAM, 40 gigabyte hard drive, although it only sees 32 gigs, a second 15 gig hard drive where I store game files on, a Sound Blaster 16, and an ATI Rage 128 video card, DVD-ROM, and a floppy drive. And I'm showing a picture right now of how this computer originally looked until last week, that is. Kind of boring, huh? Very bland and just... I know a lot of people love these old beige desktops from the 90s, but I guess I've been spoiled by Packard Bells like that. So I just don't find them all that appealing. But eBay was selling these brand new A-open cases for about $30 plus 20 shipping, so about $50 total. And I ordered one of these, and this is an A-open motherboard to... No, wait a minute, not an A-open motherboard. There's an A-open motherboard in here, but this is an A-open case for an A-open motherboard. And I forget the exact model number of this case, but it was brand new, old stock, designed in, I believe, the mid-2000s. This particular one was built in 2006. The box for it actually said Prescott Ready, so it was capable of handling a very hot Prescott Intel Pentium 4 CPU. Of course, that's not what's in here. It's something quite older than that. And I gotta say, this looks a lot more appealing than the case this computer was originally in. So we'll take a tour of it. Here's the front. Love the blue accent. It has front mounted USB, but the motherboard does not support that. Also has front mounted headphone and mic inputs, but again, motherboard does not support that, so this door just stays closed all the time. I even ordered some authentic for the era stickers, a Pentium 2 sticker, and a Design for Windows NT Windows 98 sticker. This computer is running Windows 98. Because if I was running NT, that would probably take away many of the capabilities of this system. And I even made a little sticker for it. to put up on top. Carolina Flyer, built by Billy Core, August 29th, 2017. And I even made a logo for it, and we'll be seeing plenty more of that logo as we go along in the video. So we'll turn around. Has a place where you can mount a fan here. And on the back we have power supply. We've got the I/O for the motherboard, two PS2 keyboard and mouse, two USB 1s, serial port, another serial port, and a parallel port. There's the ATI Rage 128 video card, very good video card, plays everything I've thrown at it just fine. A 3-COM PCI Ethernet card, and the Sound Blaster 16 Vibra ISA sound card, which allows me to play DOS games on here. And on the other side, a whole lot of nothing. So, get a screwdriver and we can take a quick look inside. Okay, here's the innards. At the heart of everything is the slot 1 Pentium 2 with MMX technology. Again, this is clocked at 266 megahertz, but I overclocked it to 300 megahertz. Runs just fine that way. I don't want to overclock it any more beyond that. I do not want to break anything, because this computer is kind of becoming my pride and joy. There's an A-open power supply, probably not the best one in the world. Yes, I probably should replace it, but maybe some other day. There's our RAM slots. We have 3 of them. 2 are occupied. Both are 128 meg modules, giving this 256 megs of RAM. The Rage 128 video card is sitting right here. Ethernet card is right there. And our sound card is right here. And there's the front panel connections. I actually took away the cables from this since I wasn't going to be using them, so I could get them out of the way. Here's the main hard drive. It's a Samsung hard drive. Very good and very fast hard drive. It's a 40 gig hard drive, but the BIOS can only see 32 gigs of it, but that's really no big deal to me. And here's a Quantum Fireball hard drive, a 15 gig I believe. This is where I store my most commonly used computer games, so I'm not having to swap CDs so frequently. And just a standard issue 3.5 inch 1.44 meg floppy drive, and up there an LG DVD-ROM drive. And we got a rear fan right here. So this case runs a lot cooler than the old desktop style one. And again, and another reason why I put it in this case instead of the that desktop case this board was originally in was, well, the way things are set up over there, I really don't have the room for a flat desktop. A tower makes a lot more sense. So yeah, if you're wondering what the model number for the motherboard is, it's an A-open AX6LC. Dates from about 1998. I even put a fresh CMOS battery in there. So yeah, this even has that new computer smell to it. Cable management, not all that good, but in an old case like this, there's really not much you can do as far as cable management. I guess I could get some of those like rounder IDE and floppy cables, but I'm really not too worried about that. And yes, that video card is using AGP, which is really, really nice. So yeah, let's put this computer back together. Okay, before we hook this computer back up, I just want to explain why I made some of the choices in hardware that I did. First of all, the video card, I chose that because it's a very capable video card that can play late 90s, early 2000s games at a reasonable rate. It's got 32 megs of video memory. It's completely 3D, and every game I've thrown at it runs perfectly. Again, I really don't play any of the more heavy-duty games at the time, so this video card does just fine for things from the early 2000s and prior. So basically, I chose that video card because it was what I had lying around, and it plays everything I throw at it. And you're probably wondering why I went with such an old sound card like the Sound Blaster 16. Well, there's a simple reason for that. I wanted this computer to have the ability to play DOS games. And while you can get certain PCI sound cards to work in DOS, it's really not a pleasant experience, and a lot of times, if you can get it to work, the games just sound completely wrong. And so I went with a ISA sound card, a good old-fashioned Sound Blaster 16. And because of that, I needed a motherboard that had ISA ports on it, or slots, I mean. And what I really wanted was a Pentium 3 motherboard with ISA slots. But unfortunately, those are a little hard to come by. But Pentium 2 motherboards have plenty of ISA slots. And as I got to using this computer, I realized how capable the Pentium 2 CPU really is. I've never really had a chance to use a Pentium 2 before with this much capacity, that is. And the Pentium 2, everything I've done with it runs really well. I really haven't seen much difference between this and a low-powered Pentium 3. But, of course, if I did have the option someday to get a Pentium 3 motherboard with an ISA slot on it, I would. And I have checked eBay, yes, but the ones that are on there are quite expensive. So, this Pentium 2 motherboard, I already had it, so I decided to go ahead and use it for this build. And I'm glad I did, because it's a very nice, stable board with a good CPU. And so, with the Pentium 2 being a middle-of-the-era processor, and the fact that it has an old-fashioned sound card capable of handling DOS games, and a more modern video card from the late 90s, early 2000s to give the video power to later games, this computer plays pretty much every single computer game that I want from the early 90s to the early 2000s. And this is why I consider this my ultimate nostalgic computer build. A computer to be proud of. And it works perfectly. It plays everything perfectly. I haven't had a single problem with it, knock on wood. And I am very happy to have it here. A computer that can play everything I want so far. So let's go ahead and hook it back up where it belongs, and we will fire up the new Carolina Flyer. Alright, here it is in its regular home. I know it's a computer like this probably deserves a better home, but I just can't bring myself to move this Gateway 2000 anywhere than where it already is, because this is an awesome computer too. But as days go by, we may move things around a little bit, and this may be in a more prominent location. So we'll go ahead and fire it up. Hello. Good old multi-sync XV15 monitor. I'm going to try to get in the BIOS, if I can remember the key. Okay, it's delete. There we go. And I'm using a Packard Bell keyboard with a Microsoft IntelliMouse Explorer. Anyway, as far as the BIOS is concerned, It's got a lot of features. Pause this if you want to read more. And this is where I've got the CPU overclocked. With the help of a few friends of mine, I put it to a 75 megahertz CPU clock frequency at a 4.0 CPU clock ratio, which put this up to 300 megahertz, a nice, good number. And this is Y2K compatible. See, again, pause if you want to read more of what's on the screen here. So yeah, let's go ahead and start headed toward Windows. And we'll get a good look at our BIOS post screen. There's a reason I'm not using a tripod, and that will make sense in a moment. Year 2000 compliant. And we're booting into Windows 98 Plus. This is a modified splash screen with the Carolina Flyer logo, made by my good friend the Flying Scotsman. Apologize for the refresh rate there. And there's my custom Carolina Flyer desktop background. Alright, we'll log into my domain, my virtual domain, that is. This is not running Windows NT4. This is Windows 98 2nd edition. I just like using the NT4 startup sounds in 98 because they just sound cool. Okay, we are going to put the camcorder away now and switch to a direct input via my PC to TV encoder card. So, one moment, please. Okay, and welcome to the desktop of the Carolina Flyer PC. What I intend to do in this segment of the video is showcase what I was talking about a while ago, how this computer is capable of playing just about any game I own from the early 90s to the early 2000s. So we're going to do it in chronological order, starting with some DOS games, well, at least one DOS game. We're going to do it from within Windows because this is one of the few computers I've ever owned where playing DOS games through Windows actually runs pretty well. And of course I don't know which one to play. What do you want to play, guys? Has to be DOS and all of its DOSification. Epic Pinball. How about that? Okay. Hope everyone can still hear me. Alright, we'll just play a quick game of Epic Pinball here. Hope the sound is okay. We'll do the Excalibur table. As you can see, it's running perfectly. Now, of course, there are a few DOS games that you may not want to run on here, just because of the fact that this is a Pentium 2. A lot of games from, like, the 80s and whatnot rely strictly on CPU speed, and when you play those on a Pentium 2, well, yeah, it's gonna run way too fast, past the point of playability. But a game like this, that does not rely on the CPU speed, should play just fine. An epic pinball, I gotta tell you, I do not understand why I did not have this game growing up. Because I loved pinball games. Loved them, loved them, loved them, especially 3D Ultra Pinball from Sierra. We'll do one more table. We'll do the classic Android table. Although some may prefer the iOS table. That's a bad joke, I apologize. I'm actually using a Packard Bell microphone to record this. Got it connected straight into the Sound Blaster card on this computer, and it's being captured from my main PC. Usually whenever I do something like this, I always get comments saying that either the computer audio is too loud or my microphone audio is not loud enough, or vice versa. So I'm hoping everything is sounding A-okay. It seems like I do my worst job on computer games and video games when I'm being recorded. I'm usually a little bit better at this game than what you're seeing right now. I think I am doing a little bit better than I was on the Excalibur table. And what you're seeing right here is why a ISA sound card is almost necessary for a lot of DOS games. Now, I think this game probably would play okay with a PCI sound card, but a lot of games that rely on MIDI music like Skyroads and a few other games like Jill the Jungle and whatnot, they're just not going to sound right if they even make sound at all. Okay, we'll put in my initials there. I got the medium score there. Okay, we'll do one more DOS game. There we go. One more DOS game will suffice. Yes, I know this is a very cheap microphone with no pop filter. How about something with MIDI, so I can show why this having a sound card like this is a necessity for a build like this. I guess good old-fashioned Jill the Jungle will do. Okay, Sound Blaster card has been detected. I just grabbed my joystick there. Do you want digital sound? Why, yes. Do you want the musical soundtrack? Yes. Keyboard or joystick? Joystick. We'll calibrate it there. Upper left, lower right. And of course I'm using the good old-fashioned Microsoft Sidewinder 3D Pro. See, if we were not using an ISA sound card or anything like that, this music would probably not sound like it is now. This is what it's supposed to sound like. This actually is a game I played as a child. I believe I got it off of the AOL Games channel back in 1996. So it was probably just a demo, though. Skip over that thing. And that's enough dolls. Okay, I got a high score there. Go ahead and quit. Put the joystick away for now. And now, let's move on to Windows 3.1 era games. This would be from the early to mid-90s, games that came out before Windows 95 and close to the release of Windows 95, but still 16-bit. And I want to show that off by showing Gus Goes to Cybertown, a game straight from my childhood, if I can find it in here. And I made an interesting modification to this computer, software-wise. First, let me show you the program I used for this little program called QRes. Basically, what this does is, and this is free. If you have a shortcut on your desktop or anywhere on your computer, it will modify it so when you double-click it or click it or however you open it, it will automatically set your computer to the proper color depth and resolution that game needs. Like, because, you know, a lot of games from the early to mid-90s needed 256 colors with a 640 by 480 resolution, and if you're running anything higher than either of those, then you may run into some issues. So, and of course you have this little icon right here to do it on the fly, but this way it does it for you automatically as soon as you click the icon to get into the game. So, and that's what I've done with Gus Goes to Cybertown. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go.
Hi, my name is Gus, and welcome to Cybertown.
Hi, my name is Deafness, and welcome to... Ooh. Yeah, that's a little loud, don't you think?
Click here if you want to play in Cybertown.
Is there a button I can click that'll take me to an ear doctor? And this is the first Gus game, by the way. And I always like to start in Addie's Market.
Bum ba bum bum, ba bum 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 bum. Oranges and apples.
If you're wondering why I'm freaking out at the loudness, well, it's because I'm wearing headphones right now, and there's really no way to control the sound. So yeah, I'll probably be deaf by tomorrow. So, and just like all the other Gus games, you just gotta click around and find the cyberbuds.
Pumpkin.
Yes, that is a pumpkin. Very good. Ow.
An avocado is also known as an alligator pear.
Ouch. Okay, I have my headphones off now, so screw listening to this. I don't want to go deaf.
Breakfast, lunch, dinner, brunch. We always like to cyber munch.
Well, that's very nice. Okay, first of all, Gus, you were supposed to pay for that. Second of all, that wasn't even your bag. You're a thief. You know that? You're a bad influence.
Multimedia is the convergence of computers, video, sound, photos, and music. Gus Goes to Cybertown is a multimedia experience.
And this is what I like about this game, actually. It's a perfect example of how early multimedia was in the early 90s. This game came out in 1994, just when computers were starting to grow sound cards and CD-ROM drives and speakers, which made computers a lot more interesting.
Bum 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 bum. Click.
Okay, safe to put my headphones back on. So there we go. Now that we've looked at a Windows 3.1 era game, let's head into Windows 95 era. And we're going to do that with one of my favorites. I bought this game new back in 1996, Monster Truck Madness for Microsoft. And here we go. Designed directly for Windows 95. Always had to play as Carolina Crusher, of course. So we'll just do a single-player race with 2 laps in the round and round course.
Get ready! Go!
And this was one of the very first games ever made to take advantage of 3D accelerated graphic cards, which I have this set to take advantage of. And it looks really, really good compared to how it looked on my original Tiger Bell Legend 822 CDT, which had no 3D video at all.
Carolina Crusher is doing it in the air!
I remember I used to always play this with an audio CD in the drive. That way, whenever I would play a race on this game, I would be able to listen to my own music. I would do this this time around, but the YouTube copyright police would not be happy with me. Again, if there's audio problems here, I do apologize.
Carolina Crusher is flying to the finish line! Carolina Crusher is doing it in the air!
It was actually thanks to this computer game that, starting in 1997, I used to visit the Monster Jam truck show at the Greensboro Coliseum every January from 1997 up until about, I guess, 2000, 2001, when I lost interest. And no, it was not a very classy environment. We're talking about a monster truck rally in the South.
Carolina Crusher is flying to the finish line!
Alright, one more game, and this one we're going to have to pull out a CD-ROM disc. Okay, this one is going to be Midtown Madness 2. This is where I'm going to show off the Windows 98 era gaming capability. Pop this in the drive here. Got this game new back in, I believe, 2000. Wait for the auto run to pop up. Skip through this. Okay. I have very fond memories of modding this game back in the early 2000s. Along with the original Midtown Madness, the Chicago version. I remember I used to always try to add new cars to it. Like I remember in this game, Midtown Madness 2, I actually added the DeLorean from Back to the Future. I need to find that download again someday. Alright, we'll drive through San Francisco and try to remember to wear flowers in our hair. Turn off the cops. And Ford Mustang GT will suffice. It's the first time I've played this game with this joystick. I hope it works. Hope I don't have to reconfigure anything.
Get ready to take a cruise through San Francisco.
Alright, man. Alright, let's do some driving. This is not my 1995 Honda Accord, and this is not Greensboro. So I can drive like a maniac! Yay! And of course, this is San Francisco. So this means I've got to sing a certain song. Everywhere you look, everywhere there's a heart, and stuff to do with people and animals and killing people. That was not how I remember Full House being. Alright, we need to get to the Golden Gate Bridge. And the graphics, this is 3D accelerated, of course, on this game. But I did have to turn down the settings, though. This is not on the highest setting. I believe this is medium, but it still looks really, really good. But I don't care. Looks good to me. Please heed the warning at the beginning of the game. Do not drive like this in real life. Yeah, this is the Golden Gate Bridge. Going almost a little over 130 miles an hour, just about. And no, even though I've never been to San Francisco, I do not believe at the end of the Golden Gate Bridge there is just a complete turnaround like this. San Francisco is indeed connected to the rest of the world, unlike in this game. believe Lazy Aim Reviews actually did a review of this game not too long ago. Okay, this video's getting a little bit choppy there, but it's still very playable. Again, this isn't the fastest CPU you could have for Windows 98, but I like it. But yeah, this just goes to show you that with the right selection of hardware, you can play just about anything from the 90s and early 2000s, which is when this game came out. I'm surprised we haven't blown the car up yet. Okay, let's cut through the park here. Well, yeah, you can also drive through London in this game. London, England. Whoa. Alright, let's get on the freeway. And no, not the freeway of love. That's another bad joke there, I apologize. Missed my exit. Yeah, I drive down I-40 like this every day. At least people in... Unlike in real life, at least in this game, people actually use their turn signals. Alright, let's just finish her off. I was hoping there wasn't a blockade there. We got one more thing we gotta do here in this game. We're gonna go to this pier. Up here. Rest in peace, hot dog cart. And we're gonna drive off into the bay. Because this is the San Francisco treat. So long, everybody! Alright, let's exit back to Windows. So yeah, that's enough gaming for the night. As you can see, this computer plays it all. Well, the stuff I play anyway. This may not be the ideal setup for you, but it is for me. And that's why personal computers are called personal computers. But before we go, let's just take a quick look at a few things here in Windows. Put in my custom OEM info there. Genuine Intel Pentium 2 processor, 256 megs of RAM. Going to Device Manager, we got a Rage Fury / Expert 128 / Expert 2000. Very good graphics card. A 3Com Fast Etherlink XL network card. That's a PCI card, that is. And a Creative Sound Blaster 16. And a bunch of chipset stuff that nobody cares about. And we'll do a quick DX diag. Running on DirectX 9. This is the latest version of DirectX. It'll run on Windows 98. This is from 2003. Get a little bit more info on the display. It's R128, 32 megs of video memory, and I'm running it at 800 by 600. And the date of the driver is September 23rd, 2001. And sound, Sound Blaster 16, as we already know. Input, we got a mouse, keyboard, and a Microsoft Sidewinder 3D Pro. Now we're going to do our traditional Canyon test. Actually, first, I'm going to show you the start menu. Now, normally in Windows 98, you have to, when you have a lot of program groups, start menu is designed to actually scroll up and down. But thanks to a modification that my good friend the Flying Scotsman told me about, and I apologize, I forget the name of the program that does it, but it gives you just a column start menu like this, like you would find in Windows 95, which is a lot nicer in my opinion. So yeah, I've got everything on here. I figured I might as well go the whole 9 yards with a system like this. Heck, I even gave it Microsoft Bob. How was that crazy? And I've got Microsoft Word 97. Always got to have a copy of Office on here. I am seriously actually considering doing some writing on this computer, some actual writing. So that could come in handy. So there's our 2 hard drives there. There's the main one, and there's the one for games. Alright, so we'll go ahead and do our Canyon test. And of course, with this being a Sound Blaster 16, this is just going to be good old-fashioned FM synthesis. What more could you want? What more could you want? And that was the Carolina Flyer. Kind of my pride and joy now. The computer of all trades. It plays just about everything I have from the early 90s on to the early 2000s so far. Haven't found too many problem games yet, but I'm very happy with it. And it just goes to show you, with the right combination of older hardware and newer hardware, you can have yourself a killer system like this. So I will go ahead and end this video. This is Billy Core, signing off. Thank you for watching my video. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like, subscribe, and follow me on Facebook and Twitter. The addresses are located in the bottom right corner. Until next time, this is Billy Core, signing off.